This episode of Nintendo Expansion Pass is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better. Hello everybody, welcome to Breaking Nintendo here on Bossrush Games. I'm your host, the Enlightened Insider ADV. Joining me is the suave and sophisticated Miss Stephanie Klima. Hello.
Good evening. Hello, hello.
It's evening, yes. And of course, everybody, we got the one, the only, Bossman himself, my bro him, my bestie, Mr. Corey Derry.
You didn't even introduce me first. What is this?
He introduced you first last time. He's just being fair.
He introduces me first every time.
Well,
That's what you get for the rank of my Nintendo thing. He gets lower.
I've been waiting for this episode for like a year. Okay, so
I thought you for him. You guys, yes, you guys. The episode that probably everybody's been waiting for. I
think maybe like 5 people have been waiting for this episode, and,
Oh.
and 2 of them are here. Okay, so, yeah. Anyways,
everybody, we are going to be ranking the Wii U.
yeah, number 1, show over.
Get
Hold
ready.
up.
Get ready, because we are.
Can I just share my piece real quick about the Wii U?
No.
Go ahead, Corey.
No, continue, Ed.
No, go
Continue.
No.
Continue.
So, before we get into everything, I want to ask you guys, how did you get introduced to the Wii U? Did you own the system? Did you watch the Nintendo Directs or E3 presentation? Did you play it at a friend's house? Corey, I'm going to start with you on this one. How did you get into the Nintendo Wii U?
Well, it was a new Nintendo console, and I wanted it. So I bought it on launch day. I pre-ordered it. I went in. I bought it. I bought like half the launch games, and I was very excited. I thought it was going to be huge because I'm an idiot. But I seriously bought like half the launch games. I bought Assassin's Creed. I bought Batman. I bought Call of Duty. I bought Darksiders. I bought Nintendo Land. I think Nintendo Land came with it. I bought New Super Mario Brothers U. What else did I get here? I think I got Mass Effect 3, which I still will go to my grave saying that is the definitive way to play that game, aside from, it not having the other 2 games on the system.
Okay.
The touchscreen made it really awesome to like command your team and, draw paths for them and tell them which cover to get behind and issue orders and stuff. It was super cool. Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge I got. Scribblenauts Unlimited, which was really dumb. I bought like 10 games at launch. I'm not even kidding. I bought the really bad Transformers game that I turned around and traded back in for like... Oh, and I got Zombie U. Yeah. I seriously bought like 10 games, 2 Pro Controls. I walked out with like 3 huge bags from GameStop. They put the system in a bag, and then all the accessories I bought in a bag. I bought 2 Pro Controllers and the charger. I was like going all in on this thing.
Jeez, did security have to escort you out of the store? Damn.
No, because nobody else was there buying one.
Oh, well, okay. That makes sense.
So,
Stephanie, how did you... Or...
That's all right. I can explain, but I can explain why I did not. So I confirmed the timeline here was released in 2012. And 2012 was the year that I graduated from pharmacy school and got licensed and went to work. So it released in a year where A, I had no money, B, I just graduated and needed to establish work, which is a very boring and pathetic excuse, but it's a legitimate reason. It's me starting my actual career. And then once things settled, I took a look at the system and said, ew, yuck. Sorry, with the gamepad, I just was not, I don't know, I wasn't buying it. So, my Wii was still functioning. So I had my Wii, I had my 2DS, and I said, you know what, I'm good until the follow, and I just told myself I'll buy the following console. So.
Good thing you did, because then you didn't have to buy all those games twice like I did.
So.
There's seriously only 3 games that I have my Wii U still plugged in for, and I haven't touched them in like 2 years.
Aren't 2 of them Zelda games?
2 of them are Zelda games, and the third one is the best Xenoblade game. So
10?
X.
X or sorry, whatever.
Yeah,
Sometimes I don't know if it's the Roman numeral. Anyway.
yeah, yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles X. You can create your own character. You get a mech halfway through, and then like 2/3 of the way through, you fight space dragons in your mech. It's insane.
Well, and go figure, right? Because if I were to have gotten the Wii U, it would be for the 2 Zelda games, and those 2 Zelda games aren't on the Switch. So,
I know.
anyway.
Where are they, man?
Somewhere
Nintendo,
in the Nintendo
listen to
Direct.
your fans. We know you don't, but please.
Yeah, they don't. Nope.
Well,
Anyways.
I remember selling it at Toys R Us, and I remember my birthday came that following year, and my mom gifted me a Wii U for my birthday, and I
Aw.
literally started to cry. Um,
Aw.
because I was buying my own consoles, and if I ever got a console from my parents, it was always at Christmas time, and so this was the last console that she bought me, uh, and everything, and I just felt so honored because I was playing my PlayStation 3 and stuff, and I just couldn't get a hold of a Wii U because it kept selling out. But she was able to get me one, and once she got me a Wii U, I started buying games like crazy. And I think this is the time. Uh, probably a couple of years later, I met Corey, um, and we started recording Nintendo Power Block with it. Because we was talking with a lot of games that we were talking about. We was it was still the Wii U era that we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about and stuff.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think some of the reason why this console holds a soft spot too is because that's the console that got us podcasting together, you know,
Yeah.
and it. I mean, that console like did a lot for us as friends and as. I mean, Boss. Let's put it this way: Boss Rush wouldn't exist without the Wii U. I mean,
Oh.
that's probably all close to a fact, or it wouldn't exist the way that it exists now, or I wouldn't have made the friends that I made without that console, right? Like it just, I I say the Wii U is my favorite Nintendo console aside from the Switch. I think clearly now, but like a lot of it has to do with the games, but a lot of it has to do with like what we've done since that console came out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it did a lot of things. It's how Ed and I became friends. It's how we became friends with a lot of people, and met Jesse and it's an important console to this brand, believe it or not. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think maybe that has something to do with why it holds a special place in our hearts specifically. But like, I don't know. I still think it's a great console aside from the Fisher Price tablet that it came with. You know, although both Zelda games can be played with the Pro controller, so there you go.
Such a weird thing because I did have a pro controller and the gamepad, and I was switching back to back depending on what game I was playing. I would use a pro controller, and like other times I would use the gamepad. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Well, we're gonna jump into some
Hold
history
on,
of.
hold on. Can I just
Oh,
ask what they were thinking with this thing, though? Why would you put both joysticks on the top? Okay,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Why
I
was
mean,
that a decision they made? That's all I want to know. I literally bought a third-party controller that looked like an Xbox 360 controller and played most of my Wii U games like that until that controller broke. And I was like, well, I'm not buying another one. So
I think that was probably why, because of the design of the 360.
I mean,
They trying to get away.
honestly, in all honesty, I get it because a lot of like the NES and SNES and like all the
Mm-hmm.
virtual console games, like this makes sense from a classic gaming perspective, but like man, moving your fingers away from the face buttons to turn the camera, moving it up instead of down is so unnatural and
Mm-hmm.
awful. And I think only now people are kind of I don't want to say getting used to it, but you know, making that connection again with the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck
Mm.
sticks are kind of like on an even plane too, right? And man, this controller, although this controller is super comfortable to hold except for the thumbsticks.
You guys are making great cases for this being a wonderful console. Just
It is.
saying.
It's an amazing
Oh,
console.
oh,
It's because of the games though.
yeah.
Even though
Me,
you can play them all on the Switch now.
So do the games make the console, or does the console make the games?
it,
The games make the console.
the console. Yeah.
It's the only
Like,
reason why I own a PlayStation is to play Horizon Forbidden West. If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.
yeah. But we're gonna get into some history. It was revealed at E3 2011. It's the 8th generation console. It was known as Project Cafe,
Oh
and they
my
had
gosh, I forgot about that.
yes, they had two versions of the Wii U. The white Wii U had 8 gigabytes, and the black having 32 gigabytes.
Oh, gross.
The
Memory.
right the right version was priced at $299, while the black was priced at $349. The black version was considered as the deluxe edition. They discontinued the white version and made the black 32 gigabyte standard. They came. It came with the Wii U gamepad where you could touch, watch videos, use as a remote controller, and write messages and draw on it. That's why when it comes to Splatoon, you see people draw on it, or Super Mario 3D World on it. You see a lot of drawings and stuff. Um, it came with Miiverse and was connected to the 3DS. It allowed the external hard drive to be used for more space. So this is when the external hard drive um, business started to grow because with Wii they had the SD card. I think 3DS had the micro SD card
Yeah,
for it. And Wii U had the external where all you needed to do was plug it in. I think it went up to 2 terabytes. I think at that time.
I don't know. I have an SD card in my Wii U.
I had the external because I was buying a lot of games, and
Yeah.
definitely with Xenoblade Chronicles X came out, and
Right.
they
Well, when Xenoblade Chronicles X had that 19 gig patch for
yeah.
like it wasn't required to play the game, but it made the game load faster. It gave you better textures. It gave you better. I think it actually improves performance in a lot of ways. Like
Mm-hmm.
it did that 19 gig patch did a lot. So
Yes. Um, yeah, because I have moved a lot of my save games to the external and stuff, and like compared to literally compared to the 360 and the PlayStation 3, the file sizes was still small on Wii U. I don't know how the heck they did it and
it's
stuff.
because Nintendo's the master of compression. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you look at Zelda, right? Breath of the Wild on the Wii U is only something like 8 gigabytes. Breath of the Wild.
Whew,
I think it's 13 on Switch.
that's impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
It
because it
was
only runs at 720p on the Wii U.
but it was still good. Um, it was backwards compatible with Wii games. Was able to transfer some retro consoles to it. And they also had the eShop on it. It sold 13.56 million systems worldwide. It used the Amiibo for a variety of games. It allowed, like Corey mentioned, it allowed an early install for Xenoblade Chronicles X. Allowed the 3DS to be used as a controller for Smash Wii U, Smash Brothers Wii U, and it became a big indie system. And this is important. That was important because at the time, 360 was leading the indie scene. Um, PlayStation 3, and then PlayStation 4 had indies, but then those two companies literally kind of moved away from the indie scene.
Well,
And
I think
oh,
what
go ahead,
happened
go ahead.
was, well, Xbox 360 was a huge indie game. Was a huge indie thing with Xbox Live Arcade. Remember
Hmm.
Xbox Live Arcade every year highlighted the 8 best indie games. Uh, and then when Xbox One came out, PlayStation, like obviously one of the many nails in the Xbox One's coffin was their requirement of indies to have a publisher at the beginning,
Yes,
and PlayStation did not, right? And PlayStation 4 had a huge indie, like they were really great in the indie space. But then you get to the Wii U and you get a game like Shovel Knight, which changed the way a lot of people I think thought about indies. I think that's why
hmm,
Shovel Knight. It, I don't think Shovel Knight holds up as well as it did in 2016 when it came out, 2015,
yeah,
2016. I think there are indies that play better, but I think Shovel Knight, you could look at Shovel Knight and kind of point to that as like a turning point for indies, right? I mean, yeah, we had Castle Crashers and Braid and Journey and stuff like that, but like you look at Shovel Knight, which Yacht Club made a Nintendo exclusive for a long time, right? I think it was
yeah.
like 2 years it was exclusive to the Wii U and the 3DS, and then obviously it came everywhere else with like the Xbox version has Battletoad levels in it, and I think God of War is in the PlayStation version, and
Yes, it is.
every other version had some sort of exclusive, but they chose to make it exclusive to Wii U and 3DS, which was crazy at the time.
Right, and then that's when kind of in a sense the double dipping started because people were when they was putting those indie games on physical disc,
Hmm.
people were buying them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Axiom Verge was a huge deal.
Oh heck
Oh.
yeah,
Mhm.
that was
Well,
real big.
when you were doing World 1 still, like you guys had Tom Happ on, and like he basically said that they were making it, that was coming to Wii U and there was a physical version, and then like that was a huge story. It was on Nintendo Life. You guys were on
Yeah,
Nintendo Life and all these other bigger outlets talking about a physical version coming to Wii U, and then like they tried to retract their statement and tried to make you guys pull the episode down and stuff, but like yeah, I remember all that. That was crazy. But like, yeah, when Axiom Verge came to Wii U, that was a big deal. And then you started getting stuff like the Shantae games, and
hmm,
WayForward started really picking up their support there. And um, then obviously the Switch came out, and then the rest is history. And like, the Switch is is the indie machine now, right? So,
pretty much yeah.
but I think you can point to Shovel Knight and say that's where Nintendo's indie scene kind of started growing, and then when the Switch came out, it was like it blew it out of the water because the Vita was dying. Uh, you didn't require a publisher. Like all these things were happening. It was like a perfect storm for Switch to become the indie machine. You know?
Yeah, because when we at World 1 we talked to the guys at Yacht Club and had
Yeah.
this really good discussion that we had, and we we talked to them. Of course, we talked to them about Shovel Knights, but we just talked to them about games in general, and how were they surprised to see the success of Shovel Knight on Wii U and everything. Um, so yeah. Um, Let's see. The biggest game on the system was Mario Kart 8 with 46 million copies sold, and this was another big one because if you bought Mario Kart 8, you were able to get another Nintendo game digitally for free. Because I got Mario Kart 8 and Pikmin 3 for free
Oh, wow.
on it.
That's a sweet deal.
Yeah, and and that was the time when Watch Dogs came out on PlayStation and Xbox 360. No, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and 360. Watch Dogs came out. They delayed the Nintendo version of it.
Yeah, but the Wii U was notoriously hard to develop for. That was like
Hmm.
that was a huge reason why the Wii U didn't get a lot of third-party games. It was notoriously hard to develop for.
But I think it's because they didn't have teams learning to develop for
It's
the
because
Wii
the
U.
system only sold 13 million
But
units
but once
in
again,
6 years.
it's so weird that they said it was hard to develop. But I'm like, y'all was complaining about PlayStation 3 with the blue sale, so
And that's why a lot of games came late to PlayStation. The difference is PlayStation 3 sold 90 million units and the Wii
mhm.
U sold 13.
Well, yeah, I'm just talking
That's your
about.
difference.
I'm just talking about something being hard to develop for, but you still stick with it and everything. That's
Well,
me.
that's not how businesses work, unfortunately. So,
Where during that era, yes, I would say.
I mean,
Now
still,
it's
I mean,
shoot.
anyways,
So these porting
I'm not
companies
going
get
down that road again. My head
it.
hurts too much.
um, it was released in North America on November 18th, 2012, Europe on November 30th, and Japan on December 12th. It was discontinued in 2017, with the final game being The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
That's not true. Cars 3 Driven to Win was the final game.
Whoa,
Physical game.
you just got owned.
I thought
I'd
it was
Not
Breath of
that
rather
the
that was
Wild.
important, but
I'd rather remember it as Breath of the Wild.
Right.
yeah. I just wanted to zing you, but that's fine. Cars 3 Driven to Win, by the way. Not great. I bought it on a sale for $8.
Ooh,
Oh
you
wow.
poor brave soul, you.
Yeah.
Um, I can't really say much about the accessories besides the Pro controller. Like I didn't dig into none of the accessories
I don't
for
even remember any of the other accessories, to be honest with you.
it. Besides the amiibo. That's it.
Yeah. Well, those aren't accessories. Those are toys. They made Wii U branded Wii remotes though. Remember? Like for that short amount of time for like
Yeah.
they made the instead of the word Wii at the bottom of the remotes, it just had the stupid block U at the bottom. Oh, those were gross too. Oh, I hate the Wii.
I still remember the Lego Wii controllers.
Oh yeah. Well,
Those was kind of cool.
and then they started putting like Mario overalls on them and stuff. I'm like, what are you
Oh
doing?
yeah, yeah.
What are
That
you?
one was a
What are
mess.
these?
Uh,
No.
there was the Wii U gamepad for the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Yeah, but
Ooh.
but you had to buy the Wind Waker bundle to get it.
Yes, that is true.
Oh,
Uh,
I just bought a Zelda sticker and slapped it on the side of my Wii U.
Close
uh,
enough.
It's still there. You can probably see it from here.
I will say this: thank you for Grand Theft. That's the one thing that Grand Theft Auto 5 did good for me was
Nope.
buying that game to get a $50 gift card for my job, so I could only spend $10 on Wind Waker HD.
Oh man, Wind Waker HD, man, what a game!
Ah,
What a game!
the
Oh
Wolf,
man,
the
Wind
Wolf
Waker
the Meebo
HD,
for
Twilight
Twilight
Princess
Paradise.
HD. Oh, oh man, I spent so much time with those games.
That box for Twilight Princess.
Oh
Wow,
man,
Mm,
gosh,
HD.
Twilight Princess is so good. No, the box art for the GameCube version is the best version.
I mean, it is, but I'm just having that collectible box for like $60 with the Wolf Amiibo in it.
Yeah, I
Like,
threw that away.
oh
I
yeah,
opened the Wolf Amiibo and threw that box away. Gross.
that's worth a lot too.
I know it is. Also, toys like we went to a Toys R Us when they were going out of business, and they had like 30 of them, and they were all $20. I should have just bought them all.
What?
Yeah.
was that the one
Damn.
that we went to when we got our
No, this was after that because they also had a bunch of Disney Infinity characters for $1. They were all like $1 a piece,
Oh,
and
oh no, I'm talking about was it that same Toys R Us
oh
we
no,
went to?
no,
Oh
no,
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 it's a
no, no.
different one. Okay,
Yeah.
all
Um,
right.
man,
Yeah, that was an adventure. So Stephanie, I went to go visit Corey because we was planning to get the Super Nintendo Mini collectors,
Hmm.
and so we waited in line. I already because I had to hook up. I knew I was able to see what the stores was getting, and we went to the closest one. We got our minis, and we left. Everybody, people who we ran into, who was trying to look for it, did not even think about Toys R Us getting them. They were just like,
Okay.
"That's the last place I would think of getting it." I'm like, "That should have been the first place."
yeah. That Toys R Us, by the way, is a Tesla body shop now.
Ugh,
Huh.
So
interesting.
rip Toys R Us, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's in Macy's. So,
Yeah.
uh, well, let's jump into these launch games.
Ah, man, launch games, best launch lineup ever. Just kidding.
Assassin's Creed 3, Batman Arkham City Armor
Yes.
Edition, Call of Duty Black Ops 2,
Yes.
Darksiders 2, Epic Mickey
Yes.
2, The Power of
Yes.
2, Sports Connection, ESPN Sports,
Nope.
um, FIFA 13, FIFA Soccer, or for some places, Funky Barn, Game Party Champions, Just Dance 4, Mass Effect 3 Special Edition, New Super Mario Bros. U, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, Nintendo Land, Rabbids Land, don't remember that, Scribblenauts Unlimited, Sing Party, Skylanders Giants, Sonic and All Star Racing Transform, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U Edition,
Yeah, because you could dress up
Transformers.
all the Tekken characters like Nintendo characters, and it was
Yes.
hilarious. Because
Uh,
like you dressed the one of the characters up like Mario, but they like with the mustache, but he also had like the big nose. It's hilarious. So funny.
One was like Waluigi with Toad's hat on it and stuff.
Yeah, it was awful. Like the combinations you could do in that was just terrible.
But they were funny. Transformers Prime, the game, Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper, Wipeout 3, Your Shape Fitness Evolve 2013, and Zombie U.
Zombie
Yeah.
U, man. What a
I
what
gotta
a
admit, just listening to that is a bomb um, set of games upon
Yeah,
launch.
but
Yeah,
the problem with that is like half of those launch games had already been out for like 6 months to a year on other consoles.
yeah,
Oh,
And like the big thing with Mass Effect 3 was the other two games weren't on the console, but also EA had just released the Mass Effect trilogy on
trilogy.
360 and PS3 like the week
Yep,
before for the same price.
I see.
Uh Call of Duty had been out on other consoles and the Wii U's online functionality at launch was terrible. Darksiders had been out for almost a year. Um,
Okay.
Assassin's Creed 3 had been out for like 2 or 3 months. Batman Arkham City had been out for a year. Like they had already announced Arkham Origins when Batman Arkham City came out for Wii U. Uh, like looking at this launch lineup, it's awesome, but at the time, a lot of people were disappointed because all these games had already been out for other
you know,
consoles and were
yeah.
already like, Batman Arkham City was like $15 on Xbox 360 and it was $60 on the Wii U. $50. I think Nintendo was still doing $50 games on the Wii
No,
U.
it was 60.
Was it?
Yeah, because
So
yeah, they had made the jump.
I mean
Um,
the exclusives were really good though. Like Zombie U was an interesting use of the gamepad. Not that like not that it was a great game or anything, but it was like really tense, right? Because you had to organize and look through your backpack on your gamepad, but the screen like the game didn't pause when you were looking through your backpack, and you had to
yeah,
look down at your Wii U screen to look at your backpack, and you couldn't see it. Look up, and there were zombies coming at you. And it was really scary. It was
Yikes.
cool.
really
Uh,
great trailer.
yeah, really cool trailer. Um, Epic Mickey 2 was all right. Like it was fun. It was fine. Epic Mickey 1 was better, but it was on the Wii, so um, you know.
Um,
New Super Mario Brothers U. I think if people weren't so fatigued from the DS and 3DS games and the Wii U game, like or
mhm.
the Wii game, I think this is the best 2D Mario game since this probably the Super Nintendo.
Oh, wow.
The level design is awesome. Like
Okay.
the powers are cool. Uh, it's an incredible game. It's on Switch now, and then they released that Luigi expansion pack
Yeah,
that was really cool and really challenge. Like it was the hardcore mode. Uh, so yeah, I mean that game was awesome.
which was crazy because it was like about what 40 plus some levels for like $20.
Yeah, I mean no, they redid all of the levels and then they added new ones. Remember they redid all the levels for Luigi and
Oh, okay.
they added the hardcore mode and they added the easy mode with Nabbit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I knew that there were some new levels for it. Because like it was that I think I think they released it right after that E3 presentation when they
Yeah,
announced it.
I think so.
Because I
Yeah,
ended
because
up,
you could download it like right now, and then they released a physical version of it, and then they released
yeah,
the double pack like
yeah,
a year after or something.
yeah. Because I remember I bought it from my mom on her Wii U. Like once the E3 was over, I went ahead and bought it.
Yeah, and then Ninja Gaiden 3: Razor's Edge. Remember how terrible Ninja Gaiden 3 was? And then they basically remade the game for Wii U. Like
Mm-hmm.
they literally remade the entire game. Like, no, that one doesn't count. Here's the real Ninja Gaiden 3. And it was really
Yeah,
good. Not as good as 2, right? But it was good.
it was good. Yes.
Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden 2 though. Those are some interesting, awesome games. I wish the Switch versions of the Sigma games were better because they deserve better.
Yeah, that is true.
Although
Well, you
the
right,
ones for
guys.
Xbox Series
Oh,
X are pretty good though. Those versions. They're on Game Pass. But
I know that collection one that came out. They said that wasn't good on any of the systems
uh
for the Ninja Gaiden games. But
yeah.
hey, it is what it is.
Oh, and
Well,
then
you guys.
Scribblenauts Unlimited. I forgot. They had the like you could have like Mario and Luigi and Yoshi and Pete. Like they had a bunch of Mario characters in the Scribblenauts game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh which is interesting in concept, but like you couldn't because the whole point of Scribblenauts is like you type something in and it'll draw it on your screen for you, like purple bear, and it'll draw a purple bear and it'll do something for you. Well, you couldn't like make Fat Mario or you couldn't edit the Nintendo stuff, but you could make them help you, right? Like you could only type in Mario. You couldn't type in Fat Mario and then it'd be like, I don't know what that is, you know.
Where's the fun in that? Maybe
Yeah.
it's because Mario's already fat. Just kidding. No fat shaming.
Scribblenauts, by the way, on Switch right now, Scribblenauts Unlimited is on Switch and it's $4.
What?
So
Really? Because it
Uh,
sounds pretty cool.
yeah, Scribblenauts was awesome. That's a game we didn't talk about on our DS or 3DS things.
it's going nuts.
Scribblenauts was cool, man.
Uh,
Anyways, continue. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
well, we're gonna get into these games.
Oh
We
wait, time
talked
out.
about.
Hold on. One more thing. One more thing.
One more
Okay.
sidetrack.
Sorry. Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed was also
Ugh.
amazing.
Yes.
The 360 version had banjo in it, but the Wii U version had Wreck It Ralph in it because it
Ooh.
came out around the same time that Wreck It Ralph did. And it also the Wii U version also had like a Wreck It Ralph arcade machine in it, which was super cool.
Didn't one of those games have like Diddy Kong or something? Or
No,
one of
the Skylanders Giants had special amiibo slash Skylanders that did both. They had that Donkey Kong and that
yeah.
Bowser.
But there was a game on 360 that had some Nintendo property in it on accident.
I don't know about that.
I have to look it up.
I know that Banjo Kazooie has a Game Boy in it on the 360.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So
Okay. Oh, rear. Ugh.
sidetracked. Look at us. Tangents, everybody. That's what we're known for.
All right, guys, let's get into this list. So we did talk about Super Mario Brothers Wii U.
Hold on. Can I just go on my rant real quick before we get into this list of games?
A rant after your side tangent?
Yes,
Side
it's a
tangent
positive
plus.
rant. Okay,
Side tangent plus.
Okay.
This is why I think the Wii U until the Switch came out was the best console. Okay, it has the best 2D Mario game, has the best 3D Mario game, it has the three best Zelda games on it. It has Bayonetta 2. It has Tokyo Mirage Sessions. It has the best Mario Kart. It has Captain Toad. It has a lot of third party support. It has one of the best versions of Shovel Knight on it. It has one of the best Pikmin games on it. It has two great Batman games on it. It has two of my favorite Assassin's Creed games on it. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you, man, this console is a winner. You all should have bought it.
But the
You all should have
console
bought it.
itself, man.
What's wrong with it? The
The
PlayStation 5
chunky.
is ugly as hell, and everybody's buying that thing.
But
Right,
there's.
the PlayStation 4 was shoot. The PlayStation 4 looked like a George Foreman grill. Well, that's PlayStation 3.
I was gonna say I love my PS4, but I had a Pro Slim, so it looked nice.
Okay, because the PS4 looked like the original PlayStation. That looked like a Kit Kat bar stuck
I was
together.
gonna say it looked like a broken Kit Kat bar.
Girl, you can do that's
Yeah,
gonna be a
PlayStation has some
hibachi
ugly
grill.
consoles. Let me tell you,
Well, I'm not
the
gonna
Slim
argue that.
PS2, the Slim PS2 is the only good-looking PlayStation console.
I like the Slim PS3. It kind of rectified some of the stuff, but PS4, ooh, girl, let me throw some pork chops on that mug. Get the grilling.
Oh man. Anyways,
So
what else was I saying before I got sidetracked on my
Well, it
sidetrack?
was your rant, right?
Yeah. Um, it had a really good Smash Brothers game on it. Like, it just, I don't know. I just think I think this console is really an incredible console for Nintendo fans, and it's really sad that nobody bought it. And I know a lot of it was because of the marketing. Uh, a lot of it was, people were confused about, was it an add-on for the Wii? Was it
The ugly tablet. Yep.
what is it? Is it just the tablet? Is it, what is this thing? And that really sucked for Nintendo, and they
I
never got out of that hole until the Switch came out. Also, like, they couldn't have possibly named it anything worse to
I
differentiate it from the Wii.
I feel like it's none of that. I think just a lot of people were
No, it
so.
is.
I
It
think a lot
is.
of people were so into the 360 and
Did you read Reggie's
PS3.
book? It totally is. He literally
What?
says it in the book.
Well, I mean that's Reggie's opinion, but I think it was
The
during
president of the president
Nintendo.
of Nintendo of America's
But the
opinion
reason,
on why the Wii U didn't sell
but the
well.
reason I said that is still the thing that people felt like Nintendo was still for kids. You know, people
But they
were
went
more
out. They went
into
out and got Bayonetta, and they went out and got
yeah.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and they went out and got all
We're gonna
these
get into Bayonetta, but the
Resident
thing
Evil, and
but the thing but the thing about it is during that era with PlayStation and Xbox, so many people were into first person shooters were the big thing because Call of Duty. That was a really big thing, and even though it didn't have all the third parties, a lot of third parties on those other consoles were putting a lot of those developers out of business. So I'm like, it just can't be that Nintendo didn't have the third party when the third party on the other consoles, a lot of people weren't supported. But Call of Duty stuff like that, you will see in first person shooters out the wazoo from a lot of developers. You
yeah,
didn't
because
get a
first person shooters, everybody was trying to be the next Call of Duty,
Call of
and
Duty, yeah,
and
and
still nobody's the next Call of Duty or the next Halo, or
Halo.
right. I mean, like, you look at the first person shooters out there today, right?
Mhm.
It's Call of Duty, it's Halo, it's Apex Legends, and then you can throw Fortnite in there as a
I
shooter,
don't even
right?
think it's Halo anymore. I think Halo
I
kind of
I don't
lost
know.
its
I think
light.
I think Halo is still pretty popular. I think the internet just blows everything out of proportion. Like, I think the player base is just fine. Plus, like, Forge mode's coming out soon, or
Mm.
has come out. Um, Master Chief Collection is still pretty popular. Infinite is hanging in there. Like, I think Halo's still pretty popular. I actually still like Halo. I just prefer playing Destiny, but that's
I
another
was about to say,
conversation.
I think Destiny's taken over Halo in the
Yeah,
sense.
and that's the thing too, is like Destiny is another super popular first person shooter that everybody is gravitating towards too, right? And so Overwatch also, so like it's just Nintendo didn't have the internet infrastructure to build a great first person shooter base. Like,
Hmm.
I really suck at Call of Duty, and I was winning matches on the Wii U, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
And it was still I feel like, and then we'll get into the games. It was, at that time it definitely was Western design games versus Eastern design games. Japan, Nintendo. Of course, they focus more on their own titles and everything, but in a way, that was kind of the only kind of Japanese games that you were getting in a sense. Square Enix was trying to be very American is in their stuff, and excuse me, in their stuff, that it kind of just like wasn't giving what people we thought of when it came to Square Enix with their role playing games and
Well,
stuff like that.
I also think this was a time where Japanese games were like at their low point, right? Like
Hmm.
Capcom wasn't doing great.
Yeah,
Konami was in a really weird spot where they were like, I don't know. The only thing they really had was Castlevania or Metal Gear and some bad
Metal
Castlevania
Gear.
games, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
uh, Bandai Namco hadn't hit that Dark Souls stretch yet. Like, it was just a weird time for Japanese gaming all around. And Nintendo, though they weren't making those types of games, they're still making Nintendo games. They were kind of fell into that hole too a little bit, and um, yeah, I just think people were really into competitive shooters at the time, and now we've kind of grown out of that, and I think everybody kind of grew out of that, and they're looking at single player games, short games, indie games, different types of multiplayer games, right? Like nobody thought anything would dethrone Call of Duty, and look, Fortnite came along, and you know the battle royale genre took over, and
yeah,
PUBG, Fortnite, and Apex are all super popular now. And I mean, Call of Duty still Call of Duty. Even Call of Duty jumped on the battle royale bandwagon.
right. And I kind of feel like definitely just with Wii U with their first party, so many people missed it. That's why I think that's why you hear that desire of, or people calling it the Dreamcast for Nintendo, because people who dismissed the Dreamcast and didn't play the Dreamcast games, they want that to come to Switch, so they can
Yeah,
get
but
a
I think
chance to play that era of those era games.
the thing about Dreamcast though, as opposed to the Wii U, was the Dreamcast had great games, and it still sold like almost 10 million units in a
Hmm.
year and a half, right? I mean, that's nothing to slouch at either. I think a lot of people looked at the Dreamcast and said, "I'm waiting for PlayStation 2 because it's basically a PC I can put in my living room, right?" And it has a DVD player in it.
Yeah,
It will be able to connect online at some point. It has. It didn't really have any great games, to be honest with you, but until way later, you know.
it was a JRPG machine
Yeah, it was.
at
It
one
was a
point.
J. I mean, look at the launch lineup. Look at the launch lineup of the PS2 compared to the launch lineup of like Dreamcast or GameCube or even the Xbox, right? Like Fantavision, okay. The bouncer, come on. I mean,
I
I
think
love,
Madden
I
was the
love.
only one that people were looking forward to.
I mean, I love the bouncer, but not because it's a good game. It was just
The
the
bouncer
bouncer.
looks like
But
an idea for Kingdom Hearts.
I
Just the way
mean,
the character design.
Sion basically looks like Sora, so you're not wrong. But like you look at the PS2 and like what are the popular games on PS2? Final Fantasy,
Jack
Kingdom
and
Hearts,
Daxter.
Jack. Yeah. Well, I'm saying before like PlayStation really started putting out first party games, like
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
they were JRPGs. Dark Cloud. It was just a lot of JRPGs, a lot of Onimusha, like a lot of weird fighting, games. And then you get to something like, then you start getting Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank, and then you move towards like, I mean, the most popular game on that console was Grand Theft Auto 3, right? A third party game, and
Yeah.
you know, I think Sony didn't really grasp what they were trying to do with the PlayStation 2 until God of War, honestly. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, they had three platforming mascots to compete with Mario, right? They had JRPGs because they knew Nintendo wouldn't have them. They had Killzone because they tried to compete with Halo, right? I mean, that era of games was just so weird and
You,
different
you,
and crazy. And going back to
you
the
talk about
Dreamcast,
yeah, you talk about Nintendo trying to do some weird stuff. Man, compared
yeah,
to the PlayStation 2, Sony
yeah,
was doing everything to
yeah.
find their way.
But I mean, then you look at the Dreamcast though, and their launch lineup. It's like Sonic Adventure and Sega GT and NFL 2K and what, right? And then I mean, look at the games we just listed off for the Wii U, right? They had 5 exclusive games, all doing something new or interesting or different, and nobody cared. You know, nobody cared because the system wasn't marketed correctly, It was really expensive compared to the other consoles because I mean, you remember the Xbox 360 was $200 at this point, or 220 something dollars at this point, and it had a better library, had a better controller, had more storage space, like, and then the PlayStation 3 was coming into its own right with
Mm-hmm.
stuff like Uncharted and The Last of Us and God of War 3 and Killzone 3 and Resistance and that kind of stuff and you look at Nintendo again, a console that was less powerful, more expensive, try to do something weird with the second screen experience, which the other consoles tried, right, with smart glass for Xbox, but that was an iPad app. It wasn't a controller, right? So
Right.
I don't know. Nintendo tried something different, and sometimes they hit, like with the Wii and the DS, and sometimes they crash and burn like the Wii U. And it really sucked because the Wii U was a great console. It just they made a lot of poor decisions. And Ed, we've had this discussion before too. Is like the Wii U was just a prototype of the Switch because you look at the Wii U, like you could play it on the couch. I mean, granted, you had to be like 10 feet away from your console for that controller to work, but like you could play it on your couch, you could play it on the screen. A lot of great games, kind of portable, but they just put the system in the system instead of in the controller. You know, so in a lot of ways, I look back on the Wii U fondly. I think too because it was pretty much the prototype Switch, and they just did it backwards, and they got it right this time. You know, which has me really wondering what they're going to do next, which is part of our other new series for Expansion Pass, Next Gen Nintendo, which we're going to talk about, like, what is Nintendo doing next, because nobody knows, in
I
our
would like
opinion.
to think they would take almost like the DS, 3DS route where they just create various iterations of it to really just pull and stretch the the,
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
longevity of it.
hmm
But what do I know?
That's my guess, is that it's going to be the 3DS to the DS, where it's technically a brand new system, but you can play all the old games on it.
Yeah, as long as it has that backwards compatibility for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the the gaming format they can't change for right now
Yeah. That's
until.
that's
Oh,
the
go
whole
ahead.
thing, though, is like, I know this is a Wii U show, but like you look at the Switch and like look at its successor, one of the things it has to be is backwards compatible, because you look at the way they push digital games when they're about to
Mm-hmm.
shut down two digital stores, right? They're pushing the digital games. They're pushing their online subscription, which is their retro game stuff and their online stuff, right? Like they're pushing that. They're really pushing connectivity. Like if this thing's not backwards compatible, it's not going to do well.
Mm-mm.
I think with every system moving forward, every system, whether it's Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony or whoever else jumps in, every system has to be backwards compatible. There's no excuse anymore, none. And I mean, the Wii U is like the last one, and even then, it's like, well, you probably could have, like, if people bought digital games on the Wii U, you probably could have given them some sort of, you know, discount on a digital version for the Switch at least. Anyways, let's talk about
Yeah.
the games.
Yes. So, we, like I said, we talked about Super Mario Brothers U, Wii U. Um, we have Super Mario 3D World, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Splatoon, Bayonetta 2, The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, and Breath of the Wild. And I'm gonna end it with Tokyo Mirage Session. Okay, now just the first 5 games: Super Mario Bros. Wii U, Super Mario 3D World, eh, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Splatoon,
Yep.
Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 alone caused so much controversy, along
Yeah.
with DMC Devil May Cry. But it got the Bayonetta series, where people say now that it just belongs to Nintendo. It got Game of the Year from a lot of places. Of course, it caused a lot of controversy with discussions on how women are viewed in games, like characters and stuff, over sexualization and stuff. But Nintendo let Platinum Games do what they want to do. They gave some ideas, they checked out on the game, and walked out and let Platinum do. Like, they let them make a mature game on their kid friendly system. Like,
And you
you
could dress
would
them up like Mario
never.
characters.
Exactly. And then and literally told them, okay, she doesn't look sexy enough in a Princess Peach costume. Do what you need to do.
So stupid. Anyway, I mean that game was a great get for Nintendo. We talked about Bayonetta for a long time, Ed.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but Xenoblade Chronicles X, my jaw dropped when I got that game put it in. To be like,
yeah,
how
that
this
game is a
game
great looking game. That game is
it
amazing
is.
looking.
Like, how do you make this big world and this running and never made the connection that Monolith Soft was helping the Zelda team make Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild?
you look. I mean, you look at you. We know that Monolith helps with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in terms of environments and landscapes and stuff. The connection there is Xenoblade Chronicles X. You look at Xenoblade Chronicles X, you see Breath of the Wild in that game. Now that you, if you go back to it, like just the way the grass looks on the ground and like the way the draw distance and the mountains look and just the way the world feels, right? Like that. It's. I mean, I think there's a lot more going on in the Xenoblade X world, but when you get out in the open landscapes and stuff, like I really think that you see a lot of what inspired Breath of the Wild's universe, right? And I think that's great. I wish Xenoblade Chronicles X was played by a lot more people because I think it would be super appreciated, especially now that Xenoblade 2 and 3 were super popular and Breath of the Wild is obviously Breath of the Wild. Like I think people would look at this game and be like, "Yeah, I see it now." You know. Plus, it has
Yeah,
mechs
it's
and space dragons, which is cool.
Splatoon. I remember it was like the newest IP. And Corey, so we was on Nintendo Power Block, and Corey mentioned that Nintendo has not missed a beat of bringing a new IP to their consoles. I'm like, wow. And when he said that, I'm like, that does make sense. And Splatoon was wonderful because we didn't know that Nintendo could make an online shooter um in a different way. And I'm like, it's not even a shooter in a sense. It's a paint it's a painting game.
Yeah.
You know, yes, you do hit your opponent with guns and stuff to stop them, but you don't get points for that. It's just only to stop them. You got to paint their land and stuff. Um, and then Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, Breath of the Wild, Breath of the Wind Waker HD.
Oh, the best version. They took care of that second half of the game and kind of cleaned it
Yes.
up a little bit.
Twilight Princess HD, I thoroughly enjoyed, but Breath of the Wild, like,
My Breath of the Wild for Wii U is still sealed because I'm hoping one day it'll be worth a lot of money.
I opened mine up so I could play the game.
Yeah,
And
well, you
then
didn't have a Switch when we were talking about it,
yeah,
so kind of
I
had to.
mean, and then still got ridiculed for 3+ some years because brought it on Switch and
It
still
was more
didn't beat
like
the game.
4 years, Ed. Anyways,
Uh, but yes, um, we had Tokyo Mirage Session FE Sharp FE.
hmm
Oh, great music, great gameplay, merging these characters from Atlas with the Fire Emblem characters. Oh, just so good. And I remember it. People didn't care about that game, and it became the hardest Wii U game to find. You
yeah.
know, because I once I bought my copy from Target, couldn't find it nowhere. When it came to Switch, had to
hmm
hurry up and get that on day one because
Well,
like the interest
it
in
has
that
extra
game
content
jumped.
too. I think the nice thing about the Wii U games that came to Switch is that it has they have bonus content, right, or extra content,
Yes.
and the Encore version of Tokyo Mirage Sessions has some extra content. I'm not sure what it is, uh, but if you, so I know a lot of people played Persona 5 over, October, November, December. If you are a Persona person, play Tokyo Mirage Sessions. It is basically Shin Megami Tensei Light, I would say. It's not as hard as Shin Megami Tensei, but that's what it is. I mean, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is Shin Megami Tensei backwards. So, um, and then Sharp FE, obviously Fire Emblem crossover. So, in case you were wondering
Yes.
what all that was, nobody really
Um,
was, but that's okay. You all
we
learned
got
something today on ranking Nintendo.
we have Hyrule Warriors, which I love
Yep.
that game.
Yep.
Mario Kart 8.
Yes, the best Mario Kart ever made until Deluxe came out.
True. Mario Maker, which I love making Mario.
Incredible idea until they deleted everybody's levels and never let you share them with anybody.
True. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
You think Mario Party's bad? You should play Animal Crossing
when
Amiibo Festival. It's
I
basically
tell you, nobody bought this game. It's still
I
in
did.
our stores for
I bought it
years.
because it came with those Amiibo, and now those Amiibo are worth a ton of money, and I opened them. I actually gave one of them to my nephew, so
Oh,
who knows where it is now. Uh, but imagine Mario Party, but with no mini games, and the
Huh.
spots you landed on were just like kind of crafting material type things. But I never really played enough of it to know what you did with them. So
Yee.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll pass.
yeah,
yes. Um, we have Cat the Toad Treasure Tracker.
yes,
That's a good
This
game.
this is it's, Corey. You can probably back me up on this. Pay this thing in Super Mario 3D World, and
hmm
then realizing you was getting a full game. You'd be like, how do two amazing games fall into our hands like that?
yeah.
Like, how do you take a mini game, make it a full game, and it's as bomb as the 3D game or the original game it came
hmm
from?
Yeah, it's an incredible game. Although the game is different from the mini game in Mario 3D
Mm,
World so slightly, but it's still incredible. It's not like a big difference. You're still walking around getting the green stars and stuff, but like the in Mario 3D World, you had to collect all the stars to finish the level, and in this one, you just kind of have to get to the end of the level. Uh, but still, an incredible game. The only levels I don't care for are like the auto-scrolling minecart ish levels. I think they're kind of
yeah.
dumb. In the Wii U one, you had to like bang on the screen to like shoot the things and aim it with the gyroscope, and it was really terrible. Oh, it
I
was the
enjoyed it.
worst. But all the other levels were great. This
So,
is why the gamepad sucked, everybody.
Uh-huh.
Also made the
Yoshi's
same mistake with Star Fox, by the way.
Yoshi's Woolly World. Oh,
hmm
even though Crafting World is better. Woody World soundtrack. I mean, level design is phenomenal. Yoshi's Woody World. Soundtrack wise, oh, Yoshi's Woody World is a banger, complete banger. Um, Star Fox Zero, Super Smash Bros. Wii U, which was big. I played that game with the 3DS.
You're the
Because I
worst.
had gotten so used to it that I was just like, I'd rather play this game with my 3DS as a controller than the gamepad or in the
Worst.
Wii U controller. It just felt
Why do
right
you hate yourself? Why would you do that?
because it felt good controlling my Zero Suit Samus when I was kicking tail. It just felt so
Nice.
good. So funny. My friend, he moved all the way. It's close to in Seattle, and he came down here to we all went to go visit, and we kept talking junk about Smash Brothers to each other, and so while we're in Chili's with our other friends, we both put out our 3DS and go battles for two battles. I ended up losing, take my defeat, but we bonded over Smash Brothers on 3DS, and I think it was cool that Nintendo was because they I think 3DS came out first and then the Wii U version, right, Corey? I
No, they
believe.
came out on the same day.
Oh, I thought it was separate.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Um, that was a really big E3.
Yeah, I
because
mean, it was a
Iwata
big
was.
deal. It was a big deal that Smash Brothers was going handheld. I think that was, um, and then and the fact that like that you couldn't play people on the Wii U
Mm,
with the 3DS, but you could use the 3DS as a controller, and you could like because the big thing was that you could train your amiibo, right?
yes.
And you could transfer them between consoles, and you could do that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people also really liked the fact that you could take Smash Brothers with you and play with your friends on the go and stuff, and that was a really big deal because you were able to do that with like Mario Kart and Mario Golf and tennis and stuff for a long time, and they never had a Smash because it wasn't you just couldn't do it, and um, obviously on the regular 3DS it didn't run as good as on the new 3DS, but uh, it was a big deal. That Smash
Yeah.
Brothers game was a big deal.
The 8-player battles, the DLC,
Well, the 8 player
like
battles didn't come until Switch, I thought.
no, it was on Wii U.
Were they? Hmm.
Yep, because Game Informer used to do some nights of Smash with 8-player battles. Uh, we Ryu he broke or Wii U for some of those. He broke the eShop because everybody was downloading him,
Yeah.
and the eShop went down that Sunday for E3.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you think of all the
yeah,
characters that were in the Wii, like that version of Smash, though, right? I mean, it was incredible. I mean, Mega Man was a big addition. I think Sonic. Who,
Sonic.
who was added to Smash?
I know Bayonetta. No, the big one when Cloud came to Smash.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a big deal
That was
um, because remember, because PlayStation All Stars came out like what 2 years before that on the
uh huh.
PlayStation 3 or something, and they couldn't get Cloud. Like they couldn't
Yep.
get any Final Fantasy characters for the console that character is associated with, and it ended up happening for the Wii U, which was hilarious.
Because Final Fantasy VII had never came to a Nintendo system until it came to Switch.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I understand, Nintendo made no money off of Cloud or Sephiroth because they like Square wanted all the money, and they were just like, well, this is a fan thing, so we're just gonna do it.
Yeah,
But to my understanding, Nintendo made like how much did each character cost? Like $5 or something.
probably so. Yeah, I think.
I think Nintendo made like something like 30 to 50 cents off of the Square characters. So that
Yeah.
was my
So,
little Smash history. I was really
um,
into the Wii U. I like researched everything. I I was like, because like also the Wii U was I started when the Wii U I bleh, I started doing content creation before I met Ed because of Nintendo and the Wii U also, and
hmm
like Smash and Mario Kart were like the two things I started really like doing stuff with. I don't even know if those sites exist anymore that I was doing stuff on. Uh, but yeah, it was Smash was a big deal.
yeah. Dr. Luigi, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Paper Mario Color Splash, love that game. Mario Sonic at the Olympics, that was a big one. Mario Party 10, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Tippy Stars, Poké Tournament, Rayman Legends, Darksiders 2, which we and in the first one, Resident Evil Revelations, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, Shovel Knight, Skylanders Spiral's Adventure was big. The
Hmm.
Skylanders game, even though
Hmm.
they sold a lot on Wii,
Hmm.
when they came to Wii U, that game still sold big and
Yeah.
everything. Splinter Cell, Blacklist, and Watch Dogs.
Hmm.
Uh,
Sad
which,
to say, I owned every single one of these third-party games on the Wii U. I played. I played. Remember when I played Watch Dogs on the Wii U, Ed?
yep,
Remember when we talked about it and how it ran at like 15 frames a second, and uh the drum controls were cool though because they were on the touch screen, and like you could do some really unique things with like the flying drone stuff, but it was it was rough. Oh my gosh, trying to drive a car in that game or walking around. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. Blacklist though, Splinter Cell Blacklist ran really good though.
yeah, it did.
And I mean, I played. Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 on the Wii U. I put probably like 70 hours into Black Flag on the Wii U. It was awesome.
I played a lot of Poké on yeah, Black Flag did come to Wii U. I think it
Yeah,
came
it was the
later though.
last.
I think
No, it came out the same day, but it didn't have any of the DLC, which is why my save file, and I just checked it the other day because I was curious if my file ever got corrupted or anything. 94.6% because there was no multiplayer or online functionality, which I needed for the last 5.4%. So,
yes. Infamous, not Infamous. What's the final one with the DC characters?
oh,
Uh
Injustice.
Injustice. That did come to Switch. I
It was
mean,
great.
come to Wii U, but we
It was
didn't
great.
get part two.
No,
But yeah, it was pretty good.
I have that too. Um,
Um,
by the way, I know I rag on Kirby a lot, and rightfully so, because Kirby sucks, both literally and figuratively.
But
But Kirby and the Rainbow Curse is one of the best platformers I've ever played, and it really used the gamepad well. Basically,
yes.
Kirby is a ball the entire time, and you're drawing ramps and like making platforms for him to jump onto and stuff where like basically you had to use the stylus to get Kirby through the level, through platforms, through crossing out enemies, through like it was really fun. It was really unique. They made one for DS, I think, Canvas Curse. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
DS.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was essentially the same thing, but the art style also was really cool because the entire game looked like it was molded out of clay,
Clay.
which was really cool. And all of the levels were kind of clay dioramas, and
Oh.
it's just a really unique game, a really cool game. Um, Not one I think could make it over to Switch because of just how unique the touchscreen stuff was. But
Mm-hmm.
man, what a cool experience that game was. Loved it.
Just so beautiful. I mean, it definitely is a game to watch.
Yeah,
People play.
I would
Um,
definitely watch the opening cutscene too because like all just like the claymation that they did at the beginning too because it's all stop motion, which is super cool.
yes. Um, like I mentioned, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. A lot of people enjoyed it. They for reviews and stuff. They said it was kind of like a really good version of that game. Um,
It was fine.
but
I played it. I played through. That's where I played Black Ops 2 campaign. Was on the Wii U. It
was
was
on the
good.
Wii U.
Ghosts was okay too, although Ghosts is just not a great game in general. But
Yeah, Ghost didn't really do a lot anywhere. Fatal Frame. Uh, that was kind of like the episodic version
mm,
of that game that is now on Switch, I believe, in
mhm.
PlayStation. Um,
I think it's everywhere. But yeah,
yeah, uh, and that's pretty much it. I mean,
Mario
there's a
versus
lot.
Donkey Kong Tipping Stars was an awesome game.
I never got a chance to play. I remember hearing it, but I just didn't
It was a ten
like
dollar
play.
it was a $10 download on the Wii U. It was
Mm,
basically you were solving puzzles by navigating these toy versions of Mario and Donkey Kong around the levels, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm shocked again. Another franchise that I'm really surprised has never come to Switch is Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
yes,
Love that series, but
Mighty Number Nine. Ooh,
no, we're not talking about that. Also,
that was
Rayman Legends, the best version of Rayman Legends is on the Wii U
of course,
oh
dang it.
yeah,
I like that
because you
game on the Switch.
I know it's so good, but like the gamepad was more for like your kids if your kids are playing and like you're the adult and you would draw them like extra platforms and
mm.
Mm.
kill enemies for them by touching them on the screen and stuff. Like it's more of like a helper tool, but it was super cool. By the way, the
NES
music levels in Rayman Legends are super cool.
Oh yeah, I love
yeah.
those.
NES Remix 1 and 2 was on
Hmm.
came on.
Cool idea. Another thing that should come to Switch and never did.
NBA 2K13. I remember Bioshock was supposed to come on Wii U. That and Aliens Colonial Marines was supposed to come on Wii U, and they got
I
canceled.
pre-ordered Aliens Colonial Marines for Switch. They're for Wii U, and
Mm.
never came out.
Yep.
I paid it off. I paid off the special edition because I thought the robot that it came with was cool, and never got it. Womp womp.
So at this at this time, Corey, I'm gonna hand it over to you for
Wait, what
our
about Stephanie?
ranking.
She didn't really talk about some of these games. I know she
Well,
really wants to talk about Mario Party 10.
no, that I passed on. I mean, like you said, a lot of these thankfully are on the Switch, so I have played some of these titles, like Rayman Legends. That's probably one of my favorite ones of the ones that you mentioned. I missed out on, Twilight Princess HD and stuff like that. Um,
She get a Wii U. Should play it.
I know, and I was kind of perusing some like, on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but I'm like, I don't know, should I really get a system just to play one game? Ugh,
I did.
excuse me.
I bought a PlayStation 5 for Horizon.
Yeah, so maybe.
Oh my goodness, Corey, remember Tank Tank Tank?
Oh my gosh, dude! Don't remind me of Tank Tank Tank. Remember those terrible Pac-Man platformers they made for it too? The Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures or whatever. That first one was so bad, and they made a sequel. Oh, and then the exclusive Sonic games. Sonic and the Lost World was an interesting kind. I actually
That
kind
was
of like.
good.
I kind of like Lost World, but Sonic Boom was like they tried to
Uh,
make a legitimate 3D platformer out of Sonic instead of like the super fast paced Sonic, which
Cause Sonic Generations was good. But yeah, Sonic
man,
Sonic Lost World had some really great level design,
hmm
great artwork in that game too.
yeah, I really liked the look of Sonic Boom, but did not care for the game. Although the 3DS version I hear is way better. Uh, but oh, we never talk about Star Fox Zero either, which I don't think we need to. But
Not,
um, here's the
not
thing:
bad of a
that
game.
the game itself, like the level design and the graphics and the things that you can do in that game, are not terrible. It's the control scheme that's terrible because again, they waited till 4 years after the console came out to do something interesting with the gamepad and it didn't work and they never fixed it. If they would have just let me shoot like a normal Star Fox game, that game would have gone from like a 4 to like a 7 or an 8. If you would have just let me shoot without going like this and spinning in my chair and looking like an idiot trying to play that
They
game.
wanted you to feel like you were in the cockpit.
No, because if I was flying in the cockpit, we would all be dead because we would be in the water.
Oh
Okay,
uh,
no.
so platinum game, by the way. Sorry, platinum, but it was
they
bad.
Well,
developed it.
you can't win them all.
No,
I hope
platinum
Star
was
Fox
not
comes.
winning.
I hope Star Fox comes back in a big way.
I wouldn't mind a new Star Fox game. They have to do something different though. It can't just be Star Fox 64 again. They got to do something.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're in that one game with Ubisoft back and with the
Oh,
Star Fox in
Starlink. Yeah, Starlink was
Starlink.
actually really good. Did you play Starlink, Stephanie?
I bought it under your recommendation, especially when it was on sale, and it's in my backlog.
Mm, that's a great
Nice.
Star Fox game. Like that Star Fox campaign that's in there is really good.
Yay!
Which, by the way, they're implementing a lot of that technology in that game to the new Star Wars game that's being made by the team that did the Division.
Huh? Okay.
So, like that seamless flight to another planet, a lot of just like Ubisoft. I'm really excited for that Star Wars game. That game's going to be awesome. Anyways, enough of that. I
Yes.
guess we'll rank the Wii U, and I know you guys are not going to rank it very high. Um,
I I reckon it number one.
hold on, let me get here. Hold on. Oh, it's not under expansion pass. It's under standard def because that's when we were doing the show originally. Um, all right. So our current rankings right now number 1 GameCube, number 2 Nintendo 64, number 3 3DS, number 4 DS, number 5 Game Boy, 6 Super Nintendo, 7 Game Boy Advance, and number 8 is the NES.
Listen, so even though I've never owned a Wii U, just by studying up on it, listening to you guys talk about it, I don't think my vote should be as important, but if I were to vote, I'd put it at number 2. Um, because I believe the GameCube rivals it with regards to an expansive library, and I just as far as the console itself, I just can't get over the chunky gamepad. So,
I know,
hey,
it's
I
pretty
hope
bad.
that's a bit more of a surprise than maybe you would have thought I would have ranked it.
Hmm.
I do think it's a overall great console, but just when it comes to between that and the GameCube, I personally would prefer the GameCube over it, but I'd love to hear what you guys think comparing
Yeah,
it to
I
GameCube.
it also
I'm
doesn't help that 2 of its best games are GameCube games. Technically.
I I go number 1 because I think it has one of the strongest first party lineups,
Yeah.
libraries. I love the fact that in case of I can't find a remote. Oh, let me press on my Wii U, bam. I can cut my TV on with the system. I can watch Netflix. I can watch YouTube like on my pad and stuff. Like I guess my hand just got used to the gamepad. Um,
Yeah.
and the pro controller and stuff, it didn't take up that much space. It loaded games fast. Um, a lot of artists, a lot of people who are creative and art wise, they really made some really good stuff on there. And I love the fact that it gave me files too, folders that I could put my games in and stuff. uh and then seeing like a Jesus version of me.
Oh god.
Like uh it I just
Mises.
think Jesus. I just in Super Mario 3D World, I know it's ported on Switch, but man, that
I
game
know.
is so good. I literally feel like that's the best Mario game ever
I know. As
in a
somebody who
sense.
doesn't really care for Mario games, that game is amazing. The game's incredible. Um,
Yes.
for me, like I think you just look at the console itself. Like the pros are we got new IP with Splatoon and uh great support for Mario and Zelda games. We got Pikmin 3, which we didn't talk about, which I don't really care for Pikmin 3 all that much compared to 1 and 2.
Hmm.
But it's still a very good game, good iteration
Gorgeous
of that game.
game.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game. I just think it got a little bit too complicated. I think it tried to be a little bit too cute with the mechanics, but we did get a third Pikmin game, which we didn't think we were going to get. Uh, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is an awesome JRPG with Fire Emblem characters, which after Awakening, anything Fire Emblem that comes out, I'm going to be paying attention to. Um, it has the best Mario Kart game. Mario Maker was a revolution in a world where people were trying to do Game Maker and Little Big Planet was out and super popular, and Nintendo just made it super accessible, right? Gave us a lot of choices with Mario Maker, gave us a great Smash game, an interesting Kirby game, which says a lot in terms of what I like to play. Uh, Shovel Knight obviously is a big winner for me there too. Um, Xenoblade Chronicles X is the best Xenoblade game, hands down.
Until you
We
play
didn't even
three.
talk about stuff like Wonderful 101 or
Oh yeah.
uh, Resident Evil Revelations. Darksiders uh, is a great series that feels right at home on Switch. I think Darksiders 2 is an
Hmm.
incredible game. Good third party support at the beginning. I mean, the Wii U for me, software wise, is number one. The console itself, like I like the design of the console. I hate the gamepad. I hate the pro controllers. Like the fact that I bought a third party controller just to play games is awful because nobody buys third party controllers anymore. Uh, the the user experience on the console is terrible. Uh, I mean, the eShop is more organized than it is on the Switch, but like the long boot times, the long load times, searching for things is awful. Like I mean, yeah, it had a hard drive, but like the reason why I have discs on the Wii U is because I knew that once I put the disc in, the game would start. I didn't have to go search for it. So, uh, yeah, and then we got interesting crossovers like Hyrule Warriors was an interesting idea for the Zelda franchise, right? Like that's really interesting. Even though I'm not a Warriors person, although I love Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes right now, but Captain Toad was interesting. Mario, New Super Mario Brothers U is an incredible 2D platformer. Like these are the reasons we got a sequel to Bayonetta, which nobody thought we were getting. Right, that's
Right.
an incredible get, and it has the three best Zelda games on the console in HD, beautiful, fixed. Uh, you know, so for me, the Wii U is the best Nintendo console up to this point. Um, I'm basing that on software alone. So
That's what I did. I based it on the software. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
I, I,
you can't really base it off the way the console looks or the way the controller looks, right? I mean, yeah, the controller kind of sucks, but I'm
I
still
don't think
playing
the
great
controllers
Nintendo
doesn't
games.
even suck or
What?
anything. I don't think the controller even sucks. It felt comfortable in my hand. That's a personal opinion. That's
Yeah.
all I'm
So
saying.
if you're basing just on software alone, is it just a safe assumption to assume that's going to beat the Switch for you guys? Because it
Um.
certainly ain't beating the Switch for me.
Well, I think the Switch. If you would have asked me this question maybe 2 years ago, I probably would have said yes. But we've gotten such incredible games since, in the last 2 or 3 years, also that like I mean the Switch, right? Obviously, the way the Switch plays and its portability and all the other stuff that the Switch offers outside of the games is just it's better than the Wii U in a lot of different ways, right? Um, but when I
I
look at the Wii U,
oh,
when I look at the Switch library, and I'm thinking of the best games on the console, a lot of the best games you can play there. Not all of them, but a lot of great ones. Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game. Mario 3D World, Wii U game. Mario Kart 8, Wii U game. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Wii U game. Like you look at a lot of the best games that you can play on the Switch, and they're all Wii U games.
I think it would. I think it beats Wii U. Just taking erasing all the ports, all the original content and new IPs or sequels that's been on Switch, in a sense, has outdone the Wii U in a
Yeah,
sense. And this is a personal thing because I'm like, I love Yoshi's Crafted World. Um, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I mean, because this is now, but I'm like, ARMS was a big thing. Splatoon 2 was a big thing. Mario Odyssey. Their Switch 2017 alone was can outbeat the Wii U. I mean, besides Mario Kart 8, taking that out, but it was they were Switch was getting hit with hot games.
yeah. But for me, you say that
Hmm.
like I'm not as hot on Mario Odyssey as you are. I think Mario 3D World is better. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X is better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Splatoon 2 is basically Splatoon 1.5. I didn't think ARMS was great. The only game that I point at that was new for the Wii U at that point is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and that's not going to win for me.
But I think it's yeah, because
I
it's
mean,
more for it's. I think it's more for personal thing. But I'm just. I think my thing is just like you can't deny. I mean, that's what I said. Taking away all the ports and stuff, you just can't deny that Nintendo first party versus the Wii U's first party isn't
mhm.
hot enough or anything.
I
And
mean,
and I guess
I think I
go
think
ahead.
of the Switch exclusives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Link's Awakening remake is really good, right? Astral Chain, um, Bayonetta 3, I think a lot of people really like. We got a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. I think a lot of people forget about. We got an Animal Crossing game that people
Mm-hmm.
love, right? Like, yeah, you look at the exclusives that aren't ports, and yeah, the Switch is a totally serviceable, great console to have, right? And aside from like indies and third party support, if you're just looking at the library, right? Like it's awesome. I'm just saying a lot of the games that are available on the console, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the people like games that people have started to love. Like Mario Maker 2 is just Mario Maker with more options, right? Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is just Mario 3D World with an expansion. You know,
Yeah,
Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game. The game everybody loves on Switch is a Wii U game, everybody. Spoilers.
but then I take in consideration like Fire Emblem Three Houses,
Yeah, no, well,
like
and that's what I'm getting at is like we do
oh,
have unique experiences, right? Like Fire Emblem Three Houses and Warriors Three Hopes, and um, we got Near Automata this year, which is a great game, not exclusive, obviously, but great game that was never on Wii U, and there's just the Switch is just an awesome console, and at the end of the day, yeah, the Switch is much better than the Wii U across the board. I'm
mm,
just saying, if you would have asked me this question 2 or 3 years ago, it might have been a lot harder to answer this question for me.
yeah, I think it would probably would have been easier that Switch would took over um for Wii U because I just think that taking away from all the ports, it's just like there's been a lot of great experience on that system
Hmm.
on Switch from first, third, and Andy.
Yeah,
And if I just gotta go from first to first, I'm like I feel like Switch first party is stronger
yeah,
in the sense than Wii U's. I'm not knocking Wii
yeah.
U at
No,
all,
and
but
that's a valid opinion, and I think for the most part, I would agree with you in a lot of ways. But in some respects, like I don't know
mm,
if I would. I still think, and we'll save this for the Switch conversation because we've been
yeah.
going long.
Yeah, I didn't mean to derail you guys.
You
Sorry.
did. Look what you did, Stephanie. This is your fault. But
Our
like
expression pass. Look, we kind of
I
did a
still
ranking and expression pass together.
like I look at Splatoon, and to me, there's not really like, okay, yeah, Splatoon 2 and 3 are probably better than Splatoon 1, but I don't really care. Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think, for now, until I play
Mm.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3, is still better than 1 and 2, in my opinion, right? Like, so we could go on this all day, but I'm gonna end it there because it's bedtime.
Well, Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find me on a lot of things here on the Boss Rush Network.
Stephanie, where can we find you?
People can find me on the internets at cleanmov_author on Twitter and Instagram, the Boss Rush podcast, the EXP cast, and my articles on bossrush.net.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at that retro code. Check me out also on Nintendo Power Block Expression Pass, Talk the Walk, 1v1, and other podcasts here, and some of my writings on washrush.net. With that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. We're coming to the finale, which is we'll be ranking the Nintendo Switch.
I think we kind of
But,
already ranked it. Oh, by the way, we
but,
should probably read off the rankings.
Oh,
Can we
yes.
agree that the Wii U is number 1?
Well, you guys have outvoted me, and you guys own Wii U's, so I think that's pretty fair to say.
yes.
All right,
Oh,
so as
go
of
ahead,
right
Corey.
now, number 9, the NES. Number 8, the Game Boy Advance. Number 7, Super Nintendo. Number 6, Game Boy. Number 5, DS. Number 4, 3DS. Number 3, Nintendo 64. Number 2, GameCube. And number 1, the Wii U reigns supreme for 2 more weeks, because
Wow.
that will be when the Switch probably takes over.
Well,
Spoilers.
take over. Who knows? Just to let everybody know, we got another ranking Nintendo series coming, but you will have to wait till the Switch episode to drop to find out what it's going to be. But then, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Ranking Nintendo. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Nintendo Expansion Pass is part of Nintendo Power Block and is a product of Boss Rush Media LLC. The show is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio, and is hosted by me, Edward Varnell. My co-host is Corey Derrick. You can find Corey at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting the Boss Rush Podcast and Tower Casuals, the Destiny Podcast. Follow Expansion Pass as part of Nintendo Podblock and on all social media platforms at Podblock Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.